Candy, love and life coaching delivered straight up like your best friend would if she were a licensed and certified mental wellness professional. If you don't know me yet, I'm Candace Harper, relationship coach and hypnotherapist, and I'm here to support you with feeling epic, enough, peaceful, illuminated, and courageous in every area of your life, but particularly your love life, whether you're single or not. I'm also here to teach all of us how to vibe high and manifest the sweetest possible love in this lifetime. I'm here to teach you how to ask for candy and to get it. If you've got something to say about what you hear, email me your comments and questions, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok @CandyLoveCoach. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to. Leave a review so I can shout you out. And share with the friends and family that you know will benefit from this spoonful of sugar. Now let's get started. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ask for Candy, where we talk about healing, self-care, love, sex, relationships, and what it is like to be amazing on the daily. Who I am is CandaceHarperLoveCoach.com, honey. And my purpose with this podcast is to create healthy romantic relationships all around the world through self-love, soul connections, and sweetness. Now, I haven't been here for a minute. Those of y'all who listen regularly, you know I took a little hiatus. I had a little bit of a chest cold, a little bit of a wheezing, and it just didn't sound so good. So I had to take some time. It wasn't the COVID. I promise. I took a test. I don't think it was the COVID. I hope it wasn't the COVID. But I'm back, and I'm not only back, just back by myself. I brought my friend Jaida Pervis on the show. Y'all remember her from a few shows ago. We figured it out that it was mid-August the last time we convened, and that now we're gonna do like a once a month thing, right?
Yeah.
Like make it a regular.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you.
But those of you who are listening, who are glad that we're back, or glad that I'm back, and glad that Jada's back with me, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already to our audio broadcast on Ask for Candy on Anchor, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you normally download your podcasts. You also know, as always, you can email us at askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. You can leave comments, ask questions, and, give us ideas for topics and things like that. I always say that I'm going to answer the questions, but I really do use questions as topics. Or just like regular life as topics. Because Jaida and I, we work together as matchmakers. So we have a very rich conversation
Every day we do.
Every day we do. That also inspires a lot of topics. So those of you who listen, you know that for almost 9 years, this is for the new people, I've been a relationship coach and a group workshop facilitator. And I'm also a hypnotherapist who specializes in RTT. And I am an executive luxury matchmaker at Select Date Society with Miss Jaida here. And this is how I live into my purpose, the purpose of healing the past, loving myself unconditionally, and inspiring others to do the same, using our romantic lives as a field of creativity, an inspiration, a catalyst to our highest possible selves. And relationship work is my zone of genius. And the best part about it is that week to week, I get to grow and learn as I interact with hundreds of people all around the world, around the most intimate parts of their lives. And I get to take people on their journey from caterpillar to butterfly, from unhappy with their love lives or their partners to ecstatic. And I get to teach people how to get out of their own way, tap into love as a limitless resource. Most importantly of all, I get to do is be a part of what supports healthy beginnings and sustainably healthy relationships. And my sister, Jaida, she's part of the Love Sisterhood. Also an executive luxury matchmaker and a coach as well, and a relationship expert. Jaida has over a decade of expertise in creating meaningful connections. She's been featured in Cosmopolitan, Upjourney, Yahoo Sports, ABC News, Good Day DC, and many, many more. So we are sisters in love, honey.
Yes, we are. I absolutely love that introduction.
Did you? Oh, good.
It was excellent. Yes.
Right. We are sisters for the cause, and so we have a very special topic today because we're always thinking of ways to create solutions specifically for our clients. But ourselves as well, just in general. Like, it's all about solutions when it comes to love. Because so many of us out there have problems around it, right? I feel like myself included. It's one of those things that it's people's biggest life challenges, right? So today, whenever you're listening, we are going to talk about successful matchmaking for middle-aged women. It's not a unicorn. It can be done. It is possible, but there's a lot of challenges to it.
There are many.
There are many challenges to it. So Jada and I are going to dive into a lot of the challenges, not just from a matchmaker's standpoint, but I think a lot of the challenges that our clients go through.
Yeah.
And as women who are on their level, also being women of a certain age and understanding what it's like to have love challenges.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like we can relate, which I feel like this. I would only want to have a matchmaker who could relate. I would only want to have a personal trainer who could relate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want to have somebody that doesn't know what you're going through or what you're experiencing, because then what's the point?
Exactly.
They don't know you, they can't relate to you, so it's like, why would I pay you to help me when you haven't been where I'm at right now?
Exactly. And help me through things that you can't even fathom what the feeling is like, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
No, it's true. And I think that's part of why, Jada and I always have really rich conversations around it, because first of all, we have to keep our sense of humor, and we do. Right? Like that is our main thing, because if we don't, and it's not just for us, but for our clients as well, anytime we can get them to laugh as well, like for all of us, like having a sense of humor around this thing called love.
You have to laugh sometimes.
You have to. You have to, because people show up in some crazy ways when it comes to this.
Yes, they do.
Right?
They really, really do.
They really do. So we want to talk about, some of the things that are what will have you, if you're out there considering, is it time for me to just stop trying to do this for myself? Get a matchmaker. If you're out there thinking about it, if it's a consideration, or if you've already done it, specifically if you've already done it because you might already be in it and have spent money. And a lot of times when people have spent money, they want to have something happen right away, that instant gratification. So today's show is all the things that actually can make it a successful experience.
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to like something you walk away from, like I really got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, you want it to be successful. It's an investment.
Exactly.
You and I both know it's definitely an investment. So,
yeah. And I feel like too, when we invest our right, we invest our money, and because it is around love, then there's the emotional investment. And it's like, if we think that there's only one way that this is going to work out, and it looks like Jason Momoa. It's like we set ourselves up for defeat, right?
Yeah.
So we want to, Jada and I are going to go through and talk about some ways to make it be a good experience, some ways to make it be a valuable, fruitful, worth your money, worth your emotional investment, which I think is even bigger than the money.
That's huge.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you can hear those sirens are in the background, and they're saying, yeah! It's time to talk about it. And this is for all of our ladies out there who, like I said, already have a matchmaker and are feeling away, and those who've had the experience, because I know I have a couple out there who've had the experience and feel like it was a disappointing experience. So the first, I wrote down some notes and stuff. Jada, I want to talk about the releasing of expectation, because I feel like that's sort of like the first sort of step.
Yeah, I think just from professional experience, I think people come into hiring a matchmaker with a certain expectation, right? They go into it like, I want this height, this bank account, this car, this location, this weight.
Like everything short of penis size.
Everything short of penis size. That's exactly what they want. But clearly all of those expectations that they've set to bring to their matchmaker haven't worked in the past.
Yeah. Oh, you guys know the German Shepherds here.
Haven't worked in the past.
Getting vocal.
So it's all about that expectation. So I think you have to think about those expectations, really process those expectations, and figure out what's really important. Is how tall somebody is really important, or is it more about how they treat you, what they bring to the table? Do they love you? Are they charming? Are they kind? Are they thoughtful? Or are they 6'1"? Right? You know what I mean? Some of these things are so minimal, but I think when it comes to hiring a matchmaker, people come into it with, they have a complete picture of what they want, and they're like, okay, here's my person, find it.
Yeah.
Then you bring them someone that fits all of the other things that you've discussed in the many discussions that we've had with clients.
Yeah.
But they're like, nope, he doesn't look like what I want him to look like.
Right.
So it's just kind of releasing those expectations and not even letting all of them go, because you should never settle, but trusting an expert. That's why you come to a matchmaker, so you can trust the expert.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I love what you pointed to when you said, you know, does he love you? Is he kind? Like I always feel like when we don't let ourselves actually envision what we want to experience in love, like I think that we often, and especially as powerful women, right? We're powerful women. We work with powerful women. It's like we make up our mind about what's going to work. We make the solution, right? And we decide that this is going to be a good match if he shows up with making, like you said, making this much money, 6'1", like if he's all those things and the right geography and the kind of jobs that I like, you know, he can only be a lawyer or a finance guy or this or that, right? So we decided that he's got to fit these parameters. But we forget to focus on what we want to experience, which is the basic human need of everyone, which is to be loved and accepted.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so while we're so busy, like, I won't accept anybody
that
who's
doesn't
not these
have
things.
$600,000 in their bank account.
Yeah.
That is a no. Well, then...
Yeah, like you can't be accepted if you're not practicing acceptance, right? Yeah. And not just acceptance, like compassion, you know, loving interaction, like feeling safe. Vulnerability, like all that stuff that we want to feel. And it's funny too, I feel like, and you can tell me if you feel the same, a lot of women who come to matchmaking, once they pay their money, it's like all their masculine energy says, I don't have to think about any of that emotional stuff because he's going to come to me and then I'll figure it out.
That's true, because they have that expectation. I paid somebody to do this, so he's going to come to me and then I'll, whatever it is will be. But no.
And I'm going to love him because he fits my conditions.
He fits my conditions. But coming to a matchmaker shouldn't be conditional.
Exactly.
You're coming because you want love, you want partnership, you want companionship, you want, you know, what we all want out of life, but expectations will kill you.
Ooh, honey. Yeah. And I think that's the key in releasing it is like, what is it I like deep down in my core? What do I want to feel?
What do you want to feel?
Everybody's afraid to feel.
Yeah. Do you ever ask that when you're talking to clients?
I do.
Ask them? Yeah.
I do.
What do you want to feel?
I try really hard to make sure that it's a practice, because, you know, what I'll do is I'll say, okay, wave a magic wand. I know your requirements. Like, you told me your requirements. Wave a magic wand and just like let yourself like sort of ground into your body, get into your body. And what do you want to feel like in this relationship? You know, if I say, oh, I want a guy who has a sense of humor. Well, deep down, the feeling behind that is I want to have joy and laughter.
Joy, you want to laugh, you
right?
want to have fun.
Yeah. But if I know that the feeling is laughter, I don't have to decide that this is how it has to show up. Let the universe figure out how that's going to show up, right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think you and I have talked about this before. It's that list.
Yes.
It's that list. It's that list that people want to check off. And they say, no, Jaida, yes, he's attractive, but he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that, he doesn't have this. Then it can be frustrating as a matchmaker, because you're like, wait a minute, this is your perfect person. Yeah. But because he doesn't live in the Hamptons.
Right. And we're talking to them and feeling their energy.
And
knowing, like you told me this is what you want.
Yeah. And as experts, we get excited.
Right?
We get excited and we want to present it like, oh, we got your man. Right. And they're like,
not it.
Not him.
He doesn't make 7 figures.
Yeah.
Not it.
Frustrating.
It is frustrating. Especially too, I think for both of us, there is a sense of like really wanting to do quality. Like I know that there's a lot of matchmaking companies, I won't mention them, where it's just like people just want to get those matches done. Put a hot warm body in front of somebody. And you and I put enough conversation into it that I know that we're like, we want to put together people who actually have affinity. Like we really want that to happen.
Go the distance. We want wedding invitations. Right? And, you know, we want to hear about their love story. So for us, I think we take it personally. I don't know, I can't speak for you, but I know for myself, if I work hard to get a match that I know is going to be perfect. Yeah. And like then she, for some reason, is like, it's not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, damn.
Yeah.
Well, you know, for me, what hurts me is that it's like you watching somebody cut themselves off from possibility, and that's a hard thing to watch.
Yep.
It's
you're
like,
watching someone stand in their own way,
right? Like this dude, I interviewed him for you, and I could tell there's something within him. in our interaction where there's just an energy about him that he's going to be chivalrous, he's going to give you that stability, you're going to have a good time with him, you're going to, like all the things that you feel like you want to experience are going to be there. And then as soon as she says, well, he just doesn't have whatever, it's like
frustrating. Frustrating.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's more with women of a certain age? Because we have clients too that are younger.
Yeah.
So do you find that it's kind of similar across the board, or do you think there's differences between age?
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic question. Because here's the thing, and it's going to sound maybe not nice, but younger women can be worse, but they can. Because they have...
I understand that.
Right? They're not at that level. And here's another thing. There's that level of desperation that we're all trying to make sure we don't reach, right? We don't want to seem, I had a conversation with a client where seeming desperate is the last thing any of us want to feel,
right? Or
seem or come off as, right? But as we get older, it's like, I got to do whatever. That's why we work so hard to take care of ourselves and, be spiritual and all that stuff, because nobody wants to be seen as desperate for love. And so I think when you're younger, you can get away with being so stringent and you are sabotaging yourself just like when you're older, but you have more time to do the healing that needs to be done in order to get to a point where you can accept somebody else.
Yeah.
So, and I say that to say I often let the younger girls get away with it a little bit more than I will let an older woman. Yeah, as far as like when I'm talking to them, coaching them. Yeah. I won't be like, okay, bitch, you old, you can't. I don't come out and say that, but I do say like, what you told me you want to experience is this, that, and the other, and you also told me that it is a fear of yours that they all want younger women or that there's not anything available to you. That doesn't mean that you have to take whatever you get. But you have to be we have to be even more cognizant of what's really important about matching with someone. Yeah. Because we're at an age where those things really are important. Like having that affinity, right?
Right. I agree.
Whereas when you're young, you mess around with a couple relationships that don't work out. Exactly. And things are still high and tight.
Honey.
Right? You move on with your life. You meet the next one. Hopefully you take those lessons with you.
Yeah.
But, as we're getting older, it's too easy to slide into that. It's like the slippery slope into all of a sudden waking up and being, and I have a friend in one of my personal growth groups who she is 84 years old and she's been single for 25 years.
Wow. And
still is very like, he's got to be good looking. He's got to be tall. He's got to make money. It's like you could all of a sudden find yourself still stuck on those external requirements.
I wonder why that is, though. Do you find for you in your personal life that you have certain expectations and requirements that are absolute? I mean, we all have non-negotiables. Let's be honest. But given our age, do you find now today that you have similar expectations, checklists, etc., that clients have, or are you much more open to?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, and it could be something that also, prolongs my singlehood. I'm all about feeling a certain energy with a person.
Me too. The
right?
conversation, I am all about energy.
Right? Like just feeling like this is someone that I can 100% be myself and they get it. They don't have to agree with everything I say. They don't have to think I'm right all the time, but that they get me. They get my motivation. They get what's important to me if I tell them, when I share it. So on the one hand, of course, anybody's attracted to someone who's tall and good looking. And if they have a whole lot of money, it's like, damn, yes. But I feel like, I always go back to my 13-year relationship because there was a whole year when I first knew him where I didn't find him physically attractive. And, we were college age, so money wasn't even like a thing. It was a thing there. Yeah. Right? But, after a year of friendship, what I started to feel with him was such an affinity and a comfortability and an acceptance of me that I could not love him. And I don't even remember what it was like to not think that he was good looking and to not be attracted to him in that way, because he treated me as if I was, valuable to him in an emotional way. Not just, oh, you're hot and I want to have sex with you. Yeah. You know, so I think that's what it is. Like for me, it stops at, if I feel good around you and I feel like we're vibing in a way that it's
Mm-hmm.
on that same vibrational level,
Yeah.
and I'm feeling that.
Yeah.
I think it would override like whether you're 6 feet tall.
I feel you.
Right? Or whether you
agree.
have a really super good looking face, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think as you get older, certain things, yeah, they matter, but they're not as important.
It's just not.
It's
I
not
mean,
as
because
important.
we're aging now anyway.
Right. When you're 90 years old, are you really going to care? I mean, we shrink
Exactly.
anyway as we get older. So
Right.
are you really going to care about his height when you're
Well,
90?
who's
Or are
the-
you going to care about the conversations and the, you know, the laughs and the energy and the
Yeah.
fun that you guys have?
And did
what I
somebody
think
take
about.
enough time to know you that they could make decisions on your behalf?
Ooh.
Things like that, right? Because you
That's
never
good.
know when somebody's going to have to make decisions on your behalf.
Right.
And you want that to be somebody who knows you
you.
at your core.
They can hear you say, absolutely not.
Right?
That's not what you're
exactly.
going to do on my behalf.
Exactly.
That's
And it's funny
good.
because it makes me think of like my parents. Like my parents, you know, my dad, I think I told you about this before. He had his first heart attack at like 42.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And so I would say 10 years after that, he had a stroke. And a few years after that, he was in the hospital. I mean, he's still alive, thank God. He was in the hospital for some stroke-related, you know, seizures and things like that. And he did have a moment where they thought he wasn't going to make it, like in his mid-50s.
Oh.
And so the onus was on my mom. They were like, he has a do not resuscitate. Like, what do you want to say about that? So you don't want to be with somebody
That you don't even know how
that
you would respond.
know, right?
Because then the family is looking at you like,
Like,
ma'am,
what are we gonna do?
what are you gonna do?
Exactly. Or, you know, if the onus is on him, like you don't want to be with some guy who's gonna say, "Oh yeah, go on and kill her," or somebody who
Yes.
doesn't really know what you're
Yeah.
you know, who
Yeah.
you are at your core,
Ooh,
right?
that's good.
Yeah. So
That's
those are the things that, like, for me, I would rather stay alone than not have someone where those kinds of things, the core value things, can align.
That's really good.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that answer your original question?
It definitely did, times
Yeah.
5. So thank you. That was good. Really good.
Right? So what's another one that we said? Okay, get ready to transform. So for middle-aged women who want to do matchmaking or are already in it, get ready to transform.
Well, I think, you know, I'm all about personal growth.
Yes.
That's every day, all the time. That's one of my things. And I think it's a lot of it is mindset.
Yeah.
So you can't attract what you want if you're not in the space to be where you should be.
Absolutely.
So you have to get ready to grow, to read, whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, whatever it is. You're not going to attract the person that you want, whether it's through a matchmaker or not, if you are still stuck in who you were in 1975.
Yes.
Like, we're
85,
different
95.
people. Yeah,
Right, 2005, you still doing it.
but you have to be prepared to transform yourself, and you have to be prepared for change, because
Yeah.
we're always changing and we're always evolving, which I think sometimes clients are stuck.
Yeah.
And I think that's what holds them back, because they're not mentally prepared for that transformation, which is crucial if you want a relationship, a successful one.
Absolutely.
You can't be the same person today that you were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's constant evolvement.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I agree with you 100%. And I think that's what romance is there for. It's to transform us. Right? All of our relationships that we go through, they're to transform us. And you hire a matchmaker, like I was saying to a client the other day, I am a representation of your love life right now.
Oh,
like
yeah.
your relationship,
That's
our
true.
partnership, and
That's
how
true.
you show up in our partnership, that's how you're showing up for your love life.
And if you are not representing me well,
That too. But you know, if you're coming at it thinking that you're just gonna stay how you are,
it's not going to work.
it's not gonna work, because you could not hire a matchmaker and stay how you are. You're gonna have
Absolutely.
the same experience. And you know, I think that if you make that investment, it's like, here's a chance for me to allow that transformation without my person watching. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
Like, it's like the difference between, you know, let's say I go to law school and I do mock court and I come in and I'm you know, representing someone in a mock criminal case, compared to actually being in court. And having someone's life on the line. So I get to practice it by showing up in a way, you know, like how can I grow? How can I be a partner? How can I listen and collaborate with you?
Yeah.
You
I think
know?
that's part too, that's a benefit of having a matchmaker, because those are things that we can coach them through and help them with.
Yes.
Because how many times have we done like mock Zoom dates or just different, you know, just
like let's practice.
First dates, you know, just different things to prep somebody to show up as their best self.
Yeah.
But also I think, again, it depends on the person. We have some clients that are so 100% in, and some people that are still stuck in their ways. But if you're not prepared to transform, you will forever and always be exactly where you are.
Exactly. Like getting the same thing no matter how much assistance and help you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such an opportunity. Like here's the thing. I'm speaking from a place of having had coaches, mentors, things like that, but not necessarily hiring a matchmaker. I have enough matchmaker friends. You know, you're always scouting for me.
All the time.
Right?
All the time. I'm always like, Candace, I think I found your man, girl.
Right?
I think I found him. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I will say, even though I've not made the financial investment to have one just because I have, you know, you and the circuitry, that, you know, that idea of, you know, it can like really releasing the control of it and allowing myself to see what it's going to teach me, to have someone else say, oh, I'm going to fix you up with this person. Like that, I think is a big part of, you know, making anything successful, like just being willing to be in that flow.
Yeah.
And so if I were to invest money in it, the onus would really be on me to say, okay, I'm going to make the most out of this.
Right.
Not I give you my money, you make the most out of it.
It's a team. It's a partnership.
It's a partnership, right? It's such an opportunity if we let it be, as opposed to like, you know, it's like you bought a horse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, no, I agree.
Right?
But you have to trust the matchmaker and you have to trust the process.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think people struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously people struggle with trust, but...
Which I love that you said that, because I think that struggle with trust is part of what keeps us single too.
Thank you.
Right?
Because many a night you and I have had that conversation. But I think that I would agree. I think you have to trust the matchmaker, and if you struggle with trust, that within itself is going to cause a problem.
Yeah.
Because then it's going to be almost like a battle. Like, we want you to trust us, but you struggle with trust already. So how are we going to find you your person if you don't trust us?
Right. Or if you won't give it the, and it's not easy, right? Because a lot of times mistrust comes from some trauma or some story of, you know, a story of negative past or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's so important. I love that you even said that word, because now I get to practice trust with you, this person who I've hired.
Right. And we don't have to get you out right away. We can do coaching. We can go through different things to make sure that you're ready, but you have to trust us, because whatever you're doing is not working.
Yeah.
And if you've come to us, this is a partnership, we have to make it work.
Yeah.
But you have to be open to it too. That's another thing.
Right?
Some people are...
Well, they come in, and what I've been doing is not working, but what I'm going to do is come in and tell this person how it's going to go.
Yeah. They want to tell you how to matchmake
for
them.
This is what you have to do. This is what I expect. This is what I paid for. La 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 la. So I'm still in my same headspace as I was in before, and that's why I'm single.
But it's even with the matchmaker, it's not going to work.
Right? Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah.
Girl.
Honey.
So get ready to transform, honey.
Transformation.
And then the practice of patience is another thing we made a note about. Can you practice patience? Patience is a hard thing to practice.
Patience is really hard.
Right?
It's really hard.
But it's a huge, huge part of the matchmaking journey. And it's not because, sometimes it's because there's nobody and we're looking.
Yeah, but I think...
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think part of it too, as humans, it's all about instant gratification.
Yes.
So when you give someone, you're paying someone and you're like, okay,
give it to me.
Give it to me. You want it right then and there. Yeah. You don't want to practice patience and see where the path may lead. You want it right then and there when you pay for it. You're like, where is my man, or where is my woman, or whatever the case may be, which like can be tricky.
Pizza. I paid you my $20. Where's my hot
pizza pie? So it can be tricky, because patience is a challenge, especially if you're coming into it and you already have limited patience.
Yeah. Which often we alpha women do.
I know.
Right? It's like, it's got to come now. I told you what I wanted. Where is it? I don't understand. And sometimes it does. You know, like, we have to be flat with it. There are times where it takes longer than we expect it to take.
Yeah.
Right? Because these guys, especially when they list all these requirements, they're not a dime a dozen. Like sometimes they're even unicorns. Do they even exist? This perfect guy? I mean, I don't believe they exist. I think that
You don't think the perfect guy exists?
I don't think the perfect guy exists in the sense of like I could do a whole list of externals, right? And then expect for him to also fall in love with me. I don't think it exists that he's already ready to go and falls in love with me. I think what exists is, his core values align, and there are things about him that have me then attracted.
Yeah.
And then we grow into that. Like
Yes.
you look at couples, like I always say my sister and her husband, because they've been married for 35 years.
Yeah.
They started out with nothing. And
now look at them.
Right? And I'm not saying that everybody has that same trajectory, that it has to take 35 years, but you got to be willing to walk that fine line between starting out from not where you expect to be, but also not matching with someone's potential.
Ooh, I like that.
It's a very fine line to walk, right?
It's a very fine line to
because you can't love somebody for their potential.
No, but sometimes people want to, because in their mind they're like, this person has the potential to be my husband or my wife or XYZ, but you can't fall in love with potential.
Yeah, because that's still attachment.
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say.
Sorry.
No, that's good.
We're sharing a brain when it comes to talking about
Yeah, but that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I love that you said that.
Yeah, it's a hard thing though. I mean, we talk about this stuff as if it's like it's a snap, but walking that fine line between letting a relationship evolve, but then not falling for potential. It goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning, that release of expectation and attachment.
Yeah,
like that it's got to be this, that, or the other. It's like, no. Do your core values align?
Yep.
Do you feel a sense of like vibrational energy that is similar? Is your lifestyle already somewhat similar?
Yeah.
Do you
guys have fun? Do you laugh? Do you
exactly? Do you feel comfortable being yourself?
Can you be yourself?
Right.
Because we've talked about this before. Sometimes people, and I know clients that have gone and done the same thing, they go into these situations not necessarily being 100% who they are.
Yes.
And then date 3, date 4, date 5. People are like,
what happened?
What happened? I'm confused.
Right.
But it's like you have to be 100% confident going into as who you are and being your true self.
Yeah.
And that way it can evolve into a beautiful thing, but you have to be 100% authentic to who you are. And if you're not,
right,
what are you doing?
Exactly. You're setting yourself up for bullshit.
You're setting yourself up for failure.
Right.
Setting yourself up to come back to us 6 more months later because it didn't work.
For more matches.
And
I think the scary thing about that 100% authenticity is that there'll be people that don't like you. And that's another thing I think that we deal with a lot, is that fear of rejection, that fear of not being liked. And I always encourage clients to let that not being liked do you a favor.
Ooh.
Because anybody who, they always say rejection is always a favor.
Yep.
Like anybody who sees who you really are and can't be with it, you don't want to be with
That's
them.
not your person.
It's not your
that
person.
Is not your person. Yeah.
Right? Because then you're always going to have to be pretending for them. And I've done that. Where it's like, like my abusive relationship, like, I think I'm a pretty funny person, and comedy is a big thing. That's a core value.
You're a really funny person. For those of you that don't know, she is literally comedy hour all the time. I will share that little gem.
Trying to keep it light, right? So I'm in a relationship, and I always say, I excuse my French, I always call him the most morose motherfucker on the planet. Like I would crack a joke, and he just dead it, like nothing.
Wouldn't even laugh.
Nothing. Or he would make fun of me in a way that wasn't like laughing with me, which, if you've ever had somebody do that, then you're like,
then you feel like I don't want to be myself. I don't want to laugh. I don't want to make jokes. I can't be who I am.
Exactly. Like, I don't even want to play with you because you're not fun to play with.
Yeah. Who wants to live however many years you live not being your authentic self?
Yeah.
Listen, I love to laugh. I am funny.
Yes.
I
believe. You are as well.
but I want somebody to.
Yes, Jaida.
I always say yes, ma'am. But I want someone to love all of those parts of me.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. If you don't, then you're not the person for me. So I think that's sometimes what I struggle with clients, because I want them to see you can't yes, everybody that goes on a first date, you want to look good, you want like nails, hair, whatever, you want to smell good, you want to be your cutest self, but you also, personality wise and what you bring to the table, if you're not who you are every day all the time, it is absolutely not going to work.
And you can't be that when you're looking for what's wrong with the other person. Right?
That's good. That is a gem.
Right?
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Right? You can't be yourself while you're judging and looking for what's wrong with that other person.
You can't.
Right? Yeah, girl. Here's one that you put when we were texting, practice of vulnerability.
Yeah.
I love that you said that. Because it's so hard, but
it's
so important.
so hard.
Yeah.
You talk to me about vulnerability all the time because that is a struggle.
Right?
It's hard. It's hard, but I think it's just not for me. I can speak for myself, but I think in general, it's the fear of opening up to somebody and being vulnerable, and then they don't either receive it or appreciate it, or it turns out to where you get your feelings hurt. Who wants that at the end of the day?
Yeah.
You know? So it's tough. It's something I'm more comfortable with now than I was years ago.
Yeah.
But it's still a
thing.
Challenge for me, and I think I see that too daily as I deal with men and women clients. Vulnerability is really
tough.
hard. It's hard. How do you feel?
Well, I find myself actually having to consciously practice it still. And I've been in the personal, both of us, I've been in the personal growth conversation for a long time and known it's a thing. We listen to Brene Brown, like we know what's up. But I do find myself having to consciously say, especially when I'm feeling conflict or triggered by something, whether it's in a romantic situation, if something like a date has said, or even in work. Like I feel like with the clients, I want to always be an example of vulnerability because I'm trying to lead them.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And even with our coworkers, like I feel like the vulnerability piece, I have to say to myself, this anger that you're feeling or this frustration, are you able to come from a vulnerable place about it?
And that's what's hard.
That's what's hard, right? Where you're not like, you were wrong and you fucked it up and now I'm pissed and this and that.
Yep.
I think that's the constant, and I don't always do it right. Like I might even say to myself, you could be more vulnerable about this, but then there's the devil on my shoulder that's like, go on, say what you want to say.
But that ties into the work that you've done on yourself because you can acknowledge it.
Yeah.
How many people go into situations and do things and they are not self-aware?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, Jaida, maybe you shouldn't have said that, or maybe you should have said X, Y, Z. But it's that fear of vulnerability that I think we all work on every single day, and it's huge for clients.
Like someone's gonna kick you in the teeth. I know for sure, like I have a client who, she says that she's very vulnerable. And this is the thing too, I find that a lot of times, clients will talk about, they are aware that it's a thing, that being in your feminine energy, being vulnerable, being kind, compassion, that those are all a thing.
Yeah.
But they, get in our relationship, and if they haven't had a match, all that goes out the window.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a client the other day, and I'm like, the way you present yourself to me that's the energy I'm getting when I'm interviewing people for you.
Right.
Right. And it's not that I don't care. Like it's not, oh, my feelings are hurt. It's if I know you to be someone who you say you are, then when I'm interviewing for you, that's going to give me a powerful insight as to whether someone's really right for you. But, I wouldn't say this to a client, but if you're on one side and you're being super bitch because you're mad because you didn't like your last date and you've been waiting too long and you all of that, and that's the energy that I'm regularly getting from you, I'm interviewing you from that space of this is who I'm working for. So I think that vulnerability piece, that's another thing that having a matchmaker provides is a place to practice that.
Yes.
Because we're on your team.
We're on your team. And that's what it's for. You hire a matchmaker so that, first of all, so that you don't have to go through doing all of that work and swiping, and I don't even know what all the stuff is, but doing all of that stuff in the dating world. But you have somebody that's a teammate that you can trust, that you can talk to, that you can role play scenarios with, that you can show outfits to, that you can say here's some date topics or questions.
That you can say I'm scared,
I'm
feel
scared,
nervous.
that you can say I'm anxious, I'm nervous, help me walk through this. That's the point. But if you're not vulnerable enough to do so.
Yeah. Or if you're letting, your impatience and I paid my money.
Right.
And the need for instant gratification take over.
Instant gratification.
Right. And treating it like, okay, I'm calling Macy's customer service and I didn't get what I wanted. Like that, none of that is vulnerability. We don't get to see who you are.
No, because you're not showing up as your best self. You're showing up as irritated, aggravated,
right? Impatient, desperate.
Yeah.
And not that here's the thing, like, you know, going back to what we were talking about earlier, you know, being women of a certain age, we know where those feelings come from.
Yeah.
And we're not judging, but, you know, even when you're not judging someone, if that's what you're experiencing from them all the time, you can't help but see them as that person.
Right. Because that's what you experience on a daily basis.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I get it.
And you can tell me you're a sweetheart all you want, but if every time I talk to you, you got an attitude,
then
you are not a
that
sweetheart.
to be false.
Right? And that's so perfect, because that's exactly, I think, what happens in our romantic relationships. We have this expectation that the person we're with see our kindness, but then we're never kind. It's like, well, why didn't you pick me up on time? Why didn't you do that? You know, why didn't you call me when you were supposed to? Or catching an attitude. And it's like, how are they supposed to know that you are this kind person that you think they should know you are? You know,
That's a nice little gem. You are full of them today.
Girl, you know how I do.
I know.
But that's why, you know, matchmaking is such a good practice for
It is a good, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree.
Because that's what it's about. We get into these love situations to be nice to each other. And both men and women, I think, forget that. Love is about being good to someone.
It is about being good to someone. It's about so many things, but being good to someone is probably the number one.
Right? Because why else do it?
Why do it? I can be mean to myself.
Exactly.
You know, so
I can bitch at my dog.
Where is Bentley? Where is Bentley? Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. So there's this one I wrote down, letting go of blame and shame. Because I think we enter our love lives with a lot of shame, even those of us who are powerful and, you know, invest a lot of money. You know, we're ashamed of how we chose before. We have a story around doing it. I had a client, she signed up, she registered. We were about to, you know, rear up. I was about to match her with somebody, and she's like, I changed my mind about matchmaking. I don't want to do it anymore because I feel like I'm a desperate woman who had to pay for it.
That's what I was just going to say. I think a lot of that shame, especially for men, or women, I'm sorry. I don't know that men have that.
Men ain't ashamed of nothing.
No. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But that's what I was going to say. I think dealing with a lot of the women that we deal with, it's almost like embarrassing to them. And it's really not. It's like you are taking an advantage in your love life. You're taking a step forward. You're not just on eHarmony or Match.com paying your $30, $40, $50 or whatever it is. You are investing in your love life, and it's nothing to be ashamed of.
It's nothing to be ashamed of.
Whatever you've done in the past isn't working. You just need a backup. You need a coach. You need a partner. You need somebody to help you get to the end goal. Right. But I do see what you're saying. A lot of people feel embarrassed or shameful of that, and they shouldn't.
It's almost like the whole therapy thing. It's like there's some sort of stigma around needing help with your love life. But, you know, it's such a big training ground, like transformational training ground, to have someone help you with something like that, right? Yeah. So there's no shame in saying, you know, if I had someone help me and I allow them to help me. Because as long as I'm shaming it, I'm not going to allow any of the transformation. I'm not going to allow you to help me, because deep down, if I give into it, then I'm actually giving into how I'm judging it. So it means that I'm pathetic.
Right. And that's, I think, sometimes what people think. But also, that can tie into, too, past traumas or past things that we know nothing about, which causes that shame and causes them to feel a certain type of way. So that's a good one. I don't even know that I saw that in the notes, but that's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, don't be ashamed of it. Like, I feel like it's like, you know, mental health in the Black community.
Yeah.
We gotta stop.
Yeah, because some it was. I think now it's a little more open than what it used to be, but it was stigma. It was such a stigma, especially with Black men in mental health. Nobody wanted to talk about it. But I see with matchmaking, it's very similar. Right. I have clients that say, you know, I'll talk to them and we'll talk about, you know, dates and different things, and their friends, their family, nobody knows that they have a matchmaker. Because
it's the dirty
and
secret.
It's like, why would you not want to share your experiences or the person you met or the date that you had? But it's like that secret that they're like, I can't say anything because they're going to think, well, you're desperate, or you're this, or you're that, or you can't find somebody on your own. And that's not really what it is. It's you're taking an advantage. You're taking another step to do something to invest in your love life. So it's not a bad thing.
I think those same people you're talking about are the ones that are from families where they feel like single is a pejorative. Like like there's something wrong with being single. right? And it's so hard not to approach things with shame when you're making singlehood wrong. Singlehood is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But when we make it wrong,
right,
and it's almost like if you want a new job, it's like you have to make the job you're at bad,
right?
Because then you justify why you'd want something
the new job.
But it's like, no, I can be a single person who's not wrong for being single, and also want to relate. Like those two things can exist in the same space without it being that I want a relationship because something's wrong with being single.
But sometimes families make you feel that something is wrong. Because I think we talked about this a while back when it's like coming to family dinners or holidays, how many people, and I have clients that are like,
alone again.
Right. Where's your, how long before you're married? But I have clients that are, especially right now, because it's end of October, that are like, okay, the holidays are coming, because they're trying to prep for these family events. Yeah. Because it's almost like they feel they can't show up without someone. Yeah. Because their family makes them feel like, oh, here's the loner.
Something's wrong with single.
Here she is again.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do with I have one poor client who, obviously, when I say poor, I just mean like my feeling empathy for the fact that at her age, she's in her 30s, she gets the pressure year round. And so now the holidays are coming. So it's like, and it's like, But then it becomes a little bit more pressure on us as matchmakers. Yeah. Which is then when we have to have those tough conversations, because I'm not going to rush my process or speed up. Like trying to force somebody
on you that makes absolutely no sense just because you have a family holiday coming up. So then when we have to have those conversations with them, like, no ma'am.
I mean, I feel like I would much rather be sitting at the table. And when I was younger, I got more pressure from my family than I do now. I don't get a whole lot, not even from my siblings, more so from like my dad. He used to kind of pressure me because, dads have that thing where they want their little girls to be taken care of. So, make sure you have somebody, and he's going to take care of you.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
But that was more when I was younger. Now that I'm older, I feel like I would much rather be sitting at the table by myself than sitting at the table with some fool who's going to embarrass me.
Right. That you have to say, oh my God.
Right? Like, okay.
It's happening.
This is, mom, dad, everybody, this is not my person.
But I think that too ties in the difference is the work that you've done on yourself, because a lot of people are not that confident yet or in that space yet to be able to show up alone.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's that fear.
Yeah. Because then you get a lot. It's a
lot.
It can be a burden because it also speaks to our enoughness, right? If you're already, a lot of us powerful women, we are who we are because we're trying to prove something to somebody. Ooh. Right? Like I made all this money, I achieved all this in my career, I got all these awards, I did it, and that was me, especially when I worked in television. It was like, look at what I'm doing, I finally made it to this famous thing that people can recognize, and then I get to the dinner table and you're like, where's your man? So it's like, it speaks right to that, like,
you have all these accolades and recognitions for all these other things you've done professionally. Yeah. But then in your personal life,
it's like, where's your man at? Right? So that's another thing. That's another opportunity in matchmaking. Like being willing to let go of the idea that single is wrong. Single is a beautiful place to be.
Single is a beautiful place to be. It's not wrong.
Yeah. And it's a joy and a blessing, should you choose to frame it as so, to have the financial means and the emotional means to make that kind of investment in your life. Because it's, I don't think we ever go wrong when we allow ourselves to be in partnership with people or in community with people. Yeah. Right? I think ancient tribes, it's like all the women would support each other in having the families that they wanted. And everybody was supportive and communal. So it's natural.
I think there's something to be said too when it comes to being single for a minute, like date yourself for a little bit, get to know yourself a little bit, value it. The more you love yourself, the more somebody else can step in and love you. So I think relationship hopping, which I think we see a lot, relationship, and people haven't really taken the time to invest in themselves and enjoy being single. That puts us back to where we're dealing with these clients that are instant gratification, because that's what they want. So I think there's something to be said for just enjoying being single for a minute. Yeah. Then invest in whatever you need to invest in to find your person. But if you're not where you're supposed to be as far as from a mental state, you're not even going to have a healthy relationship. Yeah. It's just not going to work.
You're going to be having a warm time, as we like to say.
Time.
Right? So another one of the notes that we had was that bad dates aren't wrong.
Okay.
I have a theory on that.
I want to hear your theory.
Right?
Yep.
So I think that we do this thing where it's like and it's hard not to have a level of frustration when you are dating and when you're a woman of a certain age dating. Yeah. When you meet someone and then you're out with them and you realize, this is not it. Mm-hmm. It's hard not to go to that like frustrated place of but there's value in every single date, and whether it's meant to grow you a little bit or alert you to something or give you a better sense of yourself or see what you're attracting, like whatever it might be, it's just our own willingness to say, what can I gain from this, as opposed to why was this so bad?
I like that.
You know what I mean? And it's just a shift of question.
Yeah.
What we normally do is like, I had a shitty date. Why was it bad? Well, because my matchmaker sucks, because he was too short, because he did this, he did that, and this is what I'm attracting now. I have bad luck.
Yes.
I have a client who's like, why is my luck like this? Like, why are you making it a story about your luck?
Yeah.
It's not about your luck. But if that's what you go in with, you're gonna keep perpetuating that bad luck.
Yeah.
So, my whole thing is, how can I phrase it or shift it in a way where it's like, well, what was right about this? And what can I do with it? Doesn't mean I have to marry this person.
Right.
I was recently going out with someone.
Yes.
And I was like, well, what was right about it?
Yeah.
And what felt great about it is that, his efforts to be chivalrous and giving and open to ideas, like his efforts to do that felt very good. Like it solidified how important that sort of thing is to me.
You. Yep.
Right? Now, unfortunately, we weren't on the same like mental energy.
Yeah.
And I didn't see him as a long-term option, but he provided something in my life for that moment that said, okay, I'm on the right track at least now. Right?
Right, but it's getting clients and people to have that same mindset.
Yes.
That's where it can become a challenge.
That's where it gets
because every date is a learning experience. It may not be the best date, but you learn something from it. You learn what you like, what you don't like. It makes you add more to, okay, well, this is what I'm going to be accepting of, or this is what I'm not. Or, you know what, I didn't think I liked XYZ before, but this date taught me I really do like what I didn't think I liked before. So I think everything you can learn from. So I do agree. I don't think any date is a bad date.
Right. Even that painting, I told you that I got that painting when I was out with him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have found that painting if
you weren't out with him. I know. And that's a great painting.
Yeah, I love that painting.
Yeah, no,
but that's the thing, like when we're willing to say, how did this work? We get value. So if I'm in a matchmaking process, if I look at each date, even the ones that didn't, because I have a client that she recently had a date that didn't work out so well. Couldn't see any value in it whatsoever. And it's like, if I allow myself to see value in it, then it's part of my journey and it makes what I've invested worth it. If I don't allow myself to see any value in it, if I make it wrong, if I make it mean something negative, then I'm the one who's stealing from myself, because now I've invested money and time, and all I can see is what didn't work. So I'm cutting myself off when it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have those same conversations? I mean, I know the conversations I have with clients, but do you have those same conversations with men? Do you have men clients that, when it comes to their dates, I feel like my female clients are a little bit more
apt to.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I agree. Like, not only are female clients more apt to even be open to the conversation around coaching, but also, I think there is, and here's the thing, I love that you asked that question, because it's something I want to figure out just as a coach when it comes to men. Like, how to sort of get into that space where they actually feel like it's something they've done.
Exactly. You know what? When you find out, let me know.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen, like, you watch people on social media and stuff, and there are men out there who take responsibility for things.
Yeah, there are.
But for the most part, when it comes to the dating thing, there's like a disconnect between
a huge disconnect.
Who I'm being and what I'm experiencing.
Exactly. So it's like getting into that little, I don't know.
That wedge. Yeah. I have a client in particular, we talk about him all the time, where it's like there's no connection between how I am, who I am, how I show up, what I wear, like how I present myself, and the fact that I am not getting what I want at all.
Yeah.
There's no connection.
No connection. So that's what I'm saying. The men it's a completely different.
It's a completely different avenue.
I want to study that a little
right?
bit more.
We need to do some research.
Yeah, we need to do some research. We definitely need to do some research.
We should maybe do a survey.
Ooh.
Right? Like what would I don't know where we'd even begin, but we need to do a survey.
We need to do a survey.
Yeah. Talk to some men.
The mindset of a man.
The mindset of a man.
Would we ever really know?
Right? Like I think about things like, with like TikTok, you can get an algorithm that you'll mostly get people who kind of match the things you love. Mm-hmm. So I often get a lot of men who talk about personal growth, which is interesting. Like men who talk about...
that's interesting because it's rare.
It is.
That they talk about it.
But men who like to give advice, I have a lot of those on my For You page.
Yeah, yeah.
And even, subscribe to, because I like to hear what they're saying about it. And it's just very interesting how it is such second nature to them to, it's not that they're not, and I'm generalizing, it's not that they're not understanding their need for growth. Like their need for growth is very important. They love to talk about it. But there's just not that kind of women, we have this the weight of the world is on our shoulders. The burden, it's on us.
It's like it's heavy,
right? If we don't show up the right way, then we can't have, or we're not good enough. Whereas with them, it's kind of it's I don't know.
It is, I think, because with women, we are so, I don't know what the word is that I want to use. We're very much perfectionists, I think, in a certain way. Yeah. Not to say that men don't, because we know men have said, listen, this is physically what I want. This is, what I'm looking for. But I think just to speak to what you're saying, it's very different. It's very different because women, the expectation and the weight that we put on ourselves, I think is so much heavier. When I have a coaching with a guy who's about to go on a date or whatever the case may be versus a woman, it is so different. Yeah. My coaching call with a man can be 15 minutes.
They're like, I got this. Oh, yeah.
I got it. I already know, Jaida. I got it. Oh, you know me. I know what to do. Yeah, but thank you. Right. But a woman, it could be like an hour and 30 minutes.
Do you think that I should smile when we first get there? I think if I ask him a question, that's going to be wrong. Yeah, should I not talk about that I have a matchmaker?
Right.
Should I,
Yeah,
what should I wear?
A man is like, listen, Jaida, I got 10 minutes. What do you got? Okay. Nope. I know. I got this. Yep. I'm going to show up with this. I already know how to do it. I've been doing it a long time. Okay. Have a good weekend. Tell the kids I said hello. But a woman is
but that could also be the same guy who has stayed single.
True.
Right? Because there's no opening.
There's no opening. But are there really openings for men, do you think? I think they're very closed off.
Yeah. I did. It's funny. I interviewed a guy yesterday. Sweet guy. Good-looking guy. Very adamant about he only wants to date a good-looking woman. You know him, too. You've interviewed him, too. That he only wants to date a good-looking woman.
I just thought of it. Yeah.
And didn't let me finish a single sentence. And not in a rude way. Like, he wasn't rude.
No, it's
I could just tell, okay, I've gotten the woman opinion enough, so now it's time for me to talk, kind of thing. Where it's like not even conscious.
It's not, right, because it's who he is.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I got it. Okay, you're speaking. Okay, but I have this. Or I've got it figured. Yeah. No, it's different. But they need it just as much as we do. Like, they need to be able to recognize responsibility in a healthy way, just like we do. I just think we're on one end of the spectrum and they're on another end. And it's like we need to meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, because a lot of the topics that we're talking about, personal growth, vulnerability, all of these things, men need to it requires both parties to be actively engaged in all of those things in order for it to work.
Yeah, definitely. And be sustainable. Girl, I think I'm looking at these notes. This hour goes by so fast.
I know.
Oh, this one I definitely wanted us to get to. Because we kind of touched on compassion, communication, collaboration skills. Matchmaking is a good practice ground for that, right?
Yeah.
But our tendency to assume the worst. That's one thing I think if you're a matchmaking client, like that our natural tendency as women, that's how we're built biologically, because in ancient tribes, we were like the ones who were like, something's wrong here. We need to get to gather everybody together. Yeah. And, a lot of times we were the, what's the word I'm looking for? The clerics and the mystics and the ones that had to let the tribe know that there's a war coming, there's a problem coming, gather the men, know. So it's natural, it's biological, it's within us. But our tendency to assume the worst in the dating process, especially the matchmaking process, can be very self-sabotaging.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like if someone rejects, or if someone, drops out, like you have a date planned and all of a sudden they back out.
That's the worst.
Yeah. But if I say, well, it means something about me, or it means something about this experience, this process, it means that this is bad, or he's bad, or I'm bad, then it's like...
Yeah, I was talking to a client the other day, and I matched her with an incredible guy, and he's, I don't know, maybe like 4 years younger than she is, which typically most women the age that she is would be like, yes. Yeah. And she was so excited. But then they're supposed to have their virtual date, and she calls me and she's like, I don't know. He's probably got so many people that are his age.
Looking for the
Is
worst.
he really, like, should we go through with this? Is he really going to be into me? So then it's like talking them through that. But I see what you're saying. I don't know why that is, that people assume the worst is going to happen versus going into it with that positive mindset and positive mentality, affirming this is going to be the best date, even if we don't connect, even if he is not my person. I am going to have so much fun. I'm going to show up. I'm going to show out. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to be cute.
Yes.
It's going to be a good time. But I think what we see so many times is people go into it with just such a bad energy before the date even happens, because they're expecting the work. He's never going to call me.
Wrong,
it's not going to, we're going to go to dinner. Oh, I don't even know that dinner's going to be good. Oh, I don't even know that I'm going to like the restaurant. Well, come on now.
Yeah. If you look for it, you find it.
You better come on. That's true.
If you look for it,
you'll find it.
Girl.
This was good.
It was good.
Thank you for having me. I love coming.
Thank you for coming.
Of course.
You know that the once a month is like the minimum. Like you can come as many times as you want. Any Saturday that you wake up and you're like, can't, girl.
Honey, this is
we
the
got
topic
something to talk about.
I love it. You're so welcoming.
Yes.
It's so good. Great topics.
Oh, honey.
We
had egg salad. You brought the crackers.
I know.
It was lovely.
Right? Lovely afternoon.
I'm going to dig into that a little bit more before you go. All right, my love. So I mentioned earlier that, matchmaking is available. Jaida and I work at Select Date Society. For anybody who's interested in matchmaking, come to us. We actually care. We actually want you to have love. Also, Jaida's an amazing coach. You can get in touch with her about that. I'm a coach and a hypnotherapist. You can get in touch with me around that. And my book is coming, I promise. Yes. I'm not mad, but she's still crazy. It's coming.
I just need you guys to know I ask her all the time, how's the book?
How's the book?
Gotta keep her on task.
Where is it? It's coming. I keep learning new things that make me want to build on.
Yeah.
But I just need to stop being a perfectionist and
get it done.
Do the thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, my loves. I don't know. What else can we say? Email me, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. Instagram @askforcandypodcast, @candylovecoach. Until next time, thank you so much, Miss Jaida Pervis.
You are very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I love you so much, and I love your beautiful lashes. Everybody's got beautiful lashes.
Thank you.
Until next time, never forget that you are a love machine. If you ever start to feel like you aren't getting the love you need, just make more and ask for candy, my love. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.